Hey there, everybody. It's Scott Walters here, and this is the Walters Wanderings Travel Podcast, episode number 2. Before I bring in my special guest for today, I want to let you know that I do have a special offer for you. The Rocking Horse Ranch, which is an all-inclusive resort, save for a couple of things I'll explain later, was a great place to take your family on a little trip. So we would love to have you go and enjoy all the things the Rocking Horse Ranch has to offer. It's not just about the horses, although there's plenty of that. There's lots of other stuff. There's 3 square meals a day, eat until you can't, entertainment, and a whole lot more. The Rocking Horse Ranch is located 2 hours from New York City. You can even take the train to Poughkeepsie and they'll pick you up. It's a great place to go and it's a great value. So if you're paying attention to this Walters Wanderings Travel Podcast, you'll be able to receive $100 in resort credit for things like alcoholic beverages, spa services, and the gift shop, because those are the only things that aren't included in your price. So again, a 3-night stay or more at the Rocking Horse Ranch, book through Go Away Often Travel, and I'll make sure you have $100 in site credit for you to go ahead and enjoy stuff to have at there. Okay, now, my special guest today is a comedian who I actually met at the Rocking Horse Ranch. His name is Scott Baker. So we have Scott here. It's like an echo chamber. Good morning, Scott.
Hello, Scott. It's the Scott morning.
I know, it's right. As I've been promoting this, we're entering an echo chamber here. So that's the way it goes.
First, I have to apologize for my tardiness. I usually pride myself on being prompt, and I messed up twice. So, sincere apologies.
You'll make up for it. There's no problem. You'll do a great job here talking about the funny moments of travel and funny stuff in general. So we'll all have a good time. So I happened to meet you at the Rocking Horse Ranch. I just offered a special to my podcast viewers and others that if they go to the Rocking Horse Ranch for 3 days or more and book through my travel agency, they'll get $100 in resort credit for their alcoholic beverages, their spa services, and the stuff at the gift shop.
Wow, that's a nice bargain to get. That's a nice little gift to get that. They mention it.
And you're obviously a semi-regular up there. You can tell them about the Rocking Horse Ranch and how nice it is for families, especially.
It's great, especially if you get the young kids, because the unlimited horseback riding. So kids really love that. They just put in a brand new pool out there too. And they just the staff there is really, really nice to you. The bonding that you get with the families is because everyone today is using these, right? And over there you don't need it. You don't need the phones. It's just bonding. There's entertainment. The food is great. It's like old school. It's like going back into the Dirty Dancing movie without the Dirty Dancing, because it's for the kids.
That's true, and they have so much stuff, and the food is good. The food is excellent. You eat until you can't. And and everything's included. That's the whole thing. Yeah. People look at the initial price and they sort of like back away. And I go, but you have to understand what's all included.
Right.
Because people aren't used to that kind of value.
Right. And also, like nowadays, especially with the pandemic, it's very clean. I mean, the way we've done it, we were entertaining it during the pandemic. I mean, we had our shows outside under the tent. Everyone's got to wear a mask at the resort, social distance. So
yeah,
it felt very
I was
safe.
there in August. I was there in August for 5 days, and it still blew me away. And then the new outdoor pool for the summertime people, that is really nice. My kids were dumped on the banana boats a lot, so they enjoyed that in the summer. In the winter, they got the skiing, and my kids learned how to ski a couple winters ago. They have the snow tubing. They got the ice rink. It's really quite all together.
Yeah, it really is. And I say this too because everybody does vacations for what they want to do it for, but the bonding that you have, and you don't have to get on a plane. See, I always thought that when you fly, sometimes you miss 2 days. You miss the day getting to the airport, and then you got to worry about the stress getting back to the airport to come home, and then you're tired of this. You just get, if you're in the driving distance to it, 3 to 5 hours to drive to there is just still you're bonding in the car. And I live on Long Island, so once I get past the traffic in the Bronx, there's no traffic up there. So
it's true, and for those people who don't have cars, they even have pickup service from the Poughkeepsie train station.
Oh wow, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, imagine that. So those people in New York City that are in their 800 square foot apartment that don't have a car because it's just a pain in the butt to have one,
Right.
They could just take the old Metro North right up to Poughkeepsie and then get picked up and right across the bridge and boom.
Well, that's really easy because now
It
you really don't have
really
to
is.
sit in any traffic, don't have to worry about anything. Just hop on the train and straight shot.
It's a great thing. It really is.
Yeah.
So now let's talk about you for a second. You're a funny guy, but you didn't necessarily start off that way because you actually were a lifer, as it were, for the NYPD.
Yeah.
But you must have had some. There must have been some inklings that you were a funny guy, maybe even before that. So
Well, it's real. You never know. Like you make plans and God laughs. You don't know what your journey's going to bring you, you know? So when I was a kid, I was born in Brooklyn and I was born one of three children. I was the youngest. So I had a middle brother and an oldest brother. So we unfortunately we had a little bit of tragedy, a lot of tragedy. Well, my middle brother passed away when he was 7.
ugh,
And then 7 years later, my father passed away, or 6 years later, my father passed away when I was 10. So we had moved out from Brooklyn to Long Island, and my oldest brother was severely bullied at the time because just wasn't. I think his brother passing away kind of isolated him a little bit. And then my father was sick, that isolated him even more. My father, we were raised Jewish. My father was Italian. My mother's Jewish, and we had a swastika burned on our lawn. We had house was firebombed, but it was mostly because they were picking on my brother. It was really severe, and so I don't want people to think like the whole neighborhood. No, it's just a group of kids picking on him, and just when a bully finds a weakness, they pick. So, but the neighborhood came together, and all that helped out. But I noticed that my mother and my brother went into severe depressions. So I would leave the room. We had one TV. It was in my mother's bedroom. So they were just always depressed watching TV. So I'd leave the bedroom. I'd walk out to the linen closet. I'd put something on, like towels or whatever, on my head, or make it like a cape or something. And I'd come back into the room with a different character, whether it be an old lady, an old man that we knew, or a relative, walking with a limp, an accent. And they would start to laugh. And I was like, this is a good way to bond and a good way to forget your problems. And, because when you laugh, you're really not thinking of anything but what you're laughing at.
that's true.
So it was pretty cool. And I learned how to improvise by doing that. So they would laugh and say something, and I would go back. And being from Brooklyn, I don't know if anyone's from Brooklyn, grew up in the 70s or 80s, or even prior to that, you're always improvising because you got to be quick. You got to be quick because that's the way it is. So then I got older and I became a boxer. And since probably nobody on this podcast ever heard of me, you know how that turned out. But I had 21 fights. I won 16. The other 5 I came in second. They were amateur fights, but still I've trained for a guy, Howard Davis, and he was great. His son won the 76 Olympics. But my mother got breast cancer. I had to take care of her. And then when the time I went back and she was cured, I was graduating college. I had to get out and get a job. So it was in the middle of the Gulf War. There was a recession going on. I got a job as a pharmaceutical sales rep. I was like, not for me. I always want to be a cop. I like helping people. So since I know that feeling of helping my mother and brother, I became a cop. Got injured, got out of PD and then NYPD. And then I went back to comedy because I had gone up when I was like 17, 18. I went on these open mics and I started going to East Side Comedy Club, which was with Richie Minervini. And out of that club, everybody came out of that club. Kevin James, Ray Romano, Seinfeld was in that club, Billy Crystal, Eddie Murphy, Bob Nelson, Rosie O'Donnell. Everybody came through that club. And once again, they're in Hollywood, but I'm here doing this podcast with you, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere else, Scott. So, then what happened was I just started. I saw this act over there with Bob Nelson, Rosie O'Donnell was there originally. Then she left, and Joan St. Ange came on, and Vinnie Mark and Dave Hawthorne, and they were doing 4 comedians doing this improv, very quick improv. And I said, geez, it would be funny with 2 comedians using the audience on stage with us. So when I went back to it, revamped the act, I met Al Isaacs in a comedy club, and we kind of he knew the same act that I did. Not a lot of people know that. So we put the act together. And then Al started to, because of COVID and some other things, he had some family stuff. So when he couldn't work, I brought Vinnie Mark from the original act on from all those years ago. I met him at a benefit for his wife because his wife had cancer, so we went to a benefit. And I said, Vinny, this is important because you never know who you're going to be nice to. I said, Vinny, all those years ago, I asked you for some advice, and you were very, very nice to me. Where a lot of comedians or some comedians aren't nice to the guys who are just starting out. So I said, I got this act going. And if you ever want to come on, days where Al can't do it, do you want to do it? And he said, sure. So it just worked out real well because especially during COVID where Al can't do it, we were still, working, and we revamped the act again to make it safe for everybody. So they don't come up on stage. They do it from their seats or we do it from the side of the stage. And it's worked out. It works out great, and I've just been very fortunate that we get booked on cruise ships, we get booked on, resorts, we get booked in theaters, well, a lot of fundraisers, corporate events. So because we can entertain from 6 years old to 60 years old in the same audience, we've just been a lot of fortune. It's never the same show twice.
Oh, no, it isn't, because it's funny because when I saw you at the Rocking Horse a year and a half ago or so, what caught me was the fact that you had asked people, I came to the late show, and you asked how many people came to the early show also, and like half the people raised their hands.
Yeah.
So that to me is like the biggest endorsement, because a lot of times with comedy, it's one and done. But as you say, because the type of show you do, which is the improvisational kind of thing, quick on your feet, have to either be funny or just dies right there. It's one of those things where it's just boom. And when half the people are coming back for a second helping, I mean, that's better than, Thanksgiving dinner, it really is.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm really fortunate because the two guys that are my partners, either Al Isaacs or Vinny Mark, they both are so talented and they have this unbelievable ability to be likable. And they both have an ability to make 300 people seem like it's a 30-person living room. We all know each other because we don't make fun of anybody. We have fun with everybody.
Right, exactly. A lot of times, a lot of comedians do like to take their little barbing stick and just sort of jab it at people. And
Right.
And listen, if you're Don Rickles, it worked. I mean, because it was his thing. And if you're doing a roast of celebrities, that's one thing. But if you're going ahead and you can't do that with regular folks in a regular crowd.
Right. And especially when you got kids there, So and then you have to make it PG-13, and you have to. So many parents are so tired of seeing a balloon act or something like that, strictly,
Right.
And the kids, if you tell jokes, they're not going to understand it. So that's why it's so great for what we do at family resorts. And that's like Rocking Horse uses us quite often,
Right, because you also go to Woodlock in Pennsylvania. You go to other similar places because
Woodlock is fantastic. It's our favorite show. It's our favorite place. I mean, it's great.
So there's lots of great places. Now, let's get to travel. Obviously, you've traveled a bit, like everyone else. What's the funniest thing that happened to somebody else that you witnessed when traveling?
Oh, to somebody else?
Yes, that's first. Then we'll get to you. But I want to find out what's the funny thing you saw happen to somebody else.
Oh, that's put me on the spot with
somebody. I know, right?
Else. Yeah, that's really put me on because I don't want to make something up. The funniest thing that happened to somebody else. Oh, I wish I had something really, really good because I'm really focusing just on when I go because I'm traveling.
I'll give you mine and you can percolate on this. So, the first time that I took my 3 kids to Disney World. My oldest had been several times, but the first time I took my oldest and the 2 younger ones to Disney World, we got on the plane at Newark Airport, and we were all in the back row because there's 5 of us, and there was 1 seat left at the window. And this lady comes walking in, and she sees a family of 5 in the row, and she sees a little boy and that's going to sit next to her, and she gave the dirtiest look. And she also, talked to the flight attendant, basically asking if she could change her seat. And the flight attendant, of course, said, no, the flight's full, so you can't change your seat. Now, my boy at the time had just turned 5, and my younger daughter was not even 4, and my older daughter was 7. And we were, like I said, going to Disney World for a quick weekend trip because we had the ability to do that. And so this lady obviously was going on business to Orlando, and so she came. She really mean look. She looked at my wife and the 2 girls on the other side. She looked at me and my son. She sat down, and I said, "Listen, I can tell that you're not exactly pleased with your seat assignment here. And I have nothing to do with it. But here's what I'm going to do for you. If my child here or the other two make you even give me a dirty look or them a dirty look, I have a $50 gift card from Starbucks I was going to use at Disney World. So here it is. And if they even make you give a dirty look on the 3 hours we're on this plane, I will give it to you. And she said, fine. So we get in the air, we come down at the end of the flight, and she turns around and she says to me, I have to apologize. Your kids were great. This boy here was unbelievable. I'm so sorry that I predetermined, what was going to happen. I says, well, that's okay. And now lesson learned. And all I could do was laugh because I had already told the kids on the way down, listen, on this airplane flight, if you do anything nonsensical, you'll just get to sit with me and not get to go on any ride. So they already knew what the punishment was. But she didn't know this. So I'm dying laughing. I'm absolutely dying laughing because, this poor woman, thinking that she's going to be stuck with the crying kid. And no, not even at all.
Right.
Not even in the least.
It is. That does happen though. Because it happened to my wife. She was on a plane. Similar story to that, but it was the opposite, where the kid wasn't behaved, and it was a simple thing like, I forget what it was, like give the kid the pacifier or feed or whatever like that. But the kid was annoying everybody on the plane. It was a simple fix, and the woman said to my wife, she says, "Well, if you had kids, you would know." She goes, I do have kids, and my kids don't act that way." And then because that quick exchange, like 4 or 5 people started applauding for her because she was the one who spoke up. Because seriously, if you're a parent, I mean, the kids get sick, they get ear things. I get it, but sometimes you can easily see that it's the parent more than the kid. Just tell your kids, sit down. You're not the only one, and we get this at a lot of the resorts too. Not a lot of resorts. So we get it a lot of times at Rocking Horse Ranch. We get it where the kids. The parents, it only takes one kid in the audience to ruin the show or disturb other guests. Now we're kind of trained for it now, but sometimes we want the kids to have fun, but that doesn't mean the kids can run around and just do whatever. Like the parents they'll go to the show, they'll go get their glass of wine, and then they're like, okay, good, I don't have to watch the kids. The entertainers will watch them now. No, I'm not your babysitter, and your kid doesn't get to just run up on stage when they want, and we've had that. Like the kids have just run up on stage, right? But you still have to maintain a smile on your face, I go, no, you're not our agent. Go ahead. We didn't sign on a third person. You go sit down now, son. So, and then the parents, they can't believe what they're seeing because say you got 50 kids sometimes in an audience, but if you had 2 kids that are completely unruly, it's not fair to the other 48 kids, So, so parents, not every kid is cute. No, get it.
No, not listen. And listen, when my kids misbehave, they get the consequence. But out in public, it's a different thing than when you're in the house. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have to take into consideration if there are other people there. It's not your private resort. It's not your private show.
No, you're not in your own living room,
And I never really blamed the kid. In all honesty, because kids act as the parents let them.
That's right. That's true. That's a good point.
It's not the kid. There's no bad kids, really. I mean, kids aren't born bad, But if the parents don't discipline them or don't teach them, then they think they can get away with it. They think that's normal behavior, and it's not.
No, I get it. So now, what's the funniest thing that happened to you when traveling?
Oh, I don't know how funny it was, but it was funny to me. But my wife and daughter didn't find the humor in it. But we went to.
They rarely do. So don't worry.
I kind of understand because we went to Italy, and I've never really traveled abroad till I met my wife, and she was an event planner through a very big corporation, so she got all the experience. They have their own travel department, all that. So I never knew that. Like some of these companies have 400,000 employees and worldwide, and they actually have their own travel department. Yeah, I never knew that. It's pretty amazing. So she's really great at what she was doing at the time, and so she knew how to book our trip. So she books a trip for a friend's wedding in Tuscany, or Florence. It was in Florence, but we were going to see a couple of places in Rome.
Sure.
Maybe it was Tuscany, but we stayed in Florence. So anyway. But this is our second time we've been to Italy, and I loved it both times, actually. It's great. So I highly recommend anybody who's watching this, ask Scott how to get you to Italy, because you're gonna love it. So we get there, and it was a nightmare from the get go, because you have connecting flight in I think it was in England. That no, we had a connecting flight. Believe it or not, in Spain. We had to go over Spain
Right,
first.
you can go to Madrid and then you have to go to Italy, which is weird, but yeah, I get it.
Yeah, so it was really strange. So we get there, and the flight is late getting in, and then we got to rush over to get to the other thing, and we knew something was going on. So when we get on the flight, sure enough, we get off the flight now, and because we missed the connecting flight because the flight was late getting in, so they
Sure.
had to reschedule the reconnecting flight, and we were in the back of the plane, and my wife's going, "Come on, we got to tell them we got to get out. We got to get a connecting flight." And I'm like, "Look, everybody on this plane has a connecting flight. Just about. We're not getting through. We're all the way in the back. We're simply not getting through." If you tell the stewardess or the flight attendant she's not connected, well, everyone's got to connect. You still got to wait to get to the gate. So we end up missing the flight. So we get another connecting one, and sure enough, they lose our luggage. Because that's what happens when you miss the connecting sometimes. So now we got a wedding to go to. Their dresses, my suit, everything's there. So we really have nothing but the clothes on our back. And you fly like jeans and a t-shirt, or sweats and a t-shirt when you're flying that long. So we go there, and we're asking them, they're going to find. So we go to the Italian Walmart there. And it was really kind of cool. We trying to buy some clothes, and they're like, "Well, what happens if they don't find our luggage?" So, and I'm laughing because I'm going, what a story this is going to be if we go in jeans and a t-shirt. Everyone's going to be there in suits and dresses. They'd be like, "Oh, what happened? Why aren't you dressed?" Well, here's the thing. Going all the way to Italy to go in jeans and a t-shirt into a wedding. And it turns out, like I even say, about 2 hours before the wedding, they delivered the stuff to the hotel. So we got, and I was trying to tell them, again, the lesson is like, even when it's not working out, it's working out, because now we have a memory of that. We went to an Italian Walmart. They lost our luggage. We had a little bit of an upsetting time, and we all got together. But you're in Italy. You can't be in a bad mood in Italy. I think it's against Italian law. You're not allowed not to be happy when you're in Italy.
That's a good point. No, and Italy is great. I've been several times, so I can vouch for the beauty of Italy. And when they reopen all that up, it's definitely still going to be a great destination to go to.
What is your favorite? What is your favorite place? Is Spain? Because I always want to go to Spain or Ireland. Have you gone? Do you know?
I've not been to Spain or Ireland, no. But I've been to Italy. I've been to Germany. Here's a funny story that happened to me. We're at the famous Opera House in Munich, Germany.
Uh-huh.
Okay? The cavernous place, 4,000 seats, bench seating. They got the Pop band in the front, and you're gonna get your meal, and it's brought out and all that. And with every meal, they part of the meal is a liter of beer if you're of age. So you get a liter of beer with your meal. So I'm there, and I'm actually leading a choir group because we're going to Germany, we're going to the Passion Play in Oberammergau, we're going to Austria, and we're going to Italy. And there I am, and across from me at this big table is our priest, who's on the trip to do daily mass and whatnot. And so he goes and he asks the waitress, he says, "Do you have Bud Light?" And everyone's laughing at him, like, "Father John, there is no Bud Light here."
In Germany, no way.
Did you see those big things, those big metal things outside? That's what they're serving you.
Yeah.
But even funnier still, some people, of course, don't drink beer, right? So they're all bringing me their liters of beer.
Right.
And there I am drinking 7 liters of beer that night.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we have a 6 o'clock wake up to take the bus to Oberammergau for the Passion Play. And they say, "Aren't you going to get hungover?" And I go, "No, I'm not going to get hungover." Are you not going to get hungover? So, Weinheitsgebot. They go, "What?" I go, "Weinheitsgebot will keep me from getting hungover." And they said, "Well, what's that?" I says, "You'll have to look it up because I'm not going to get hungover. I'm going to have a good time tonight." So we got back. We got back to the hotel. We had our nice sleep. We woke up the next morning. I was not hungover, and they go, "You're pretty. You're up and you're pretty." Guy says, "Yes, because of Weinheitsgebot." And they go, "Well, what is Weinheitsgebot?" And so the tour guide was explained. She goes, and she's a wonderful lady. I'm still friends with her on Facebook and all. And she goes, it's our, because she's German, but she lives in Italy. She goes, it's our beer purity law. You can only have 4 ingredients in beer, and you can't have any additives or chemicals. So
I
because
didn't know that.
additives or chemicals, it's only the hops, the barley, the malt, and the water, and the yeast. Just those regular ingredients. There is no preservatives and nothing that's going to get the chemicals going in your brain. So that's why I never could get drunk in Italy or Austria on the beer. Never
knew. It's funny because we went to Italy. The same thing with the wine. You can drink and drink and drink.
Pure. Yeah, it's because it's pure wine. They don't add anything to it. It's basically from the spigot. For lack of a better term. So there you go. So that's my funny story about that. And there's one more. A long time ago, I studied for one summer at Italy Opera, but we had to do the connecting flight in London. And we were at Heathrow. And Heathrow set up that if you come in from another continent and you're going inside Europe, you have to go to a different terminal. But it's not real close. You have to take a bus. So we're riding the bus, and I'm groggy because, it's an overnight flight, and you're groggy, and you don't get great sleep on an airplane. So all of a sudden, I come up, I wake up, and I look around, and I go, oh, shit, we're on the wrong side of the road. I pull on the emergency brake, and they're all saying, what's the matter? I says, we're on the wrong side of the road. And then all these British people are looking at me like, you dopey American, you. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, guilty as charged. So
Vinny, my like when I say when I'm not with Al, when Al can't go on something, Vinny comes on. So Vinny does an awful lot of cruises, and he did the Alaskan cruise. And the Alaskan cruise is really something to see because you get lounge chairs outside, and they give you blankets.
Yes, I've been there. I've done that.
And you get to see the glaciers and all that as the cruise is going. It's really kind of cool. So Vinny, being a gentleman, there were these women there that had seen the show the night before. So, but they were older. So Vinny's like, oh, you know what? You ladies sit here. I'll bring you over some hot chocolate. So Vinny goes over to the wait staff that goes around. They have the hot chocolate thing. So he goes, can I get 3 hot chocolates? And the guy goes, sorry, sir. And he's like, sorry, sir, you're part of the show. I can't wait on you. I have other people here. I have to. He goes, no, but I'm bringing it over for these 2 women over there. And the guy got pissed off because he had to serve Vinny. So he's like, he gives Vinny a look. He's like, takes a deep breath, gives him the hot chocolate. So he goes, take your hot chocolate and go. Take your hot cocoa and go, sir. That's it, go. Because they didn't want to serve. They don't want to waste their time serving the entertainment staff. Because I just feel like we're like not making them or breaking them. But Vinny was being a gentleman, bringing it over for the women. It just always pays to be nice. Always pays to be nice.
You can never be nice enough. There's no doubt.
You can't go wrong being nice until it's time not to be nice.
That's right. And there is a time not to be nice.
Yeah, you're not a pushover, but you could start off being nice.
That's right. The old get the flies with honey and not vinegar.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't need to be so angry all the time.
So, what's your dream destination to go to? Where would you in a perfect world? Where would you want to go to?
Oh boy, that's great. I just learned of this one. I just learned a dream. Oh boy, I would always want to see Hawaii, and I forgot because not that I'm afraid of flying. I don't have the patience to fly 13 hours.
It's actually only 9 to Hawaii, so
okay.
We've just cut off 4 hours for you.
Then I'll go. So my dream destination, there's a couple, but I was thinking about flying into the West Coast and taking a cruise to Hawaii.
Sure.
I love cruises. The other thing is Australia. It's 24 hours.
Yeah, Australia is quite a hike, but actually it's funny you say that because my boss, my travel boss, actually went on a cruise from Los Angeles to Sydney, and yeah, there's a lot of sea days in there, but they keep you entertained and all that.
But I don't mind being at sea. I mean, because those cruise ships are floating hotels.
That's right. They're little resorts in the ocean. But you still get to stop. They stopped in Hawaii. They stopped several places along the way. So it's quite an enjoyable trip. It does take about a month to get all the way over there, but you still have to get back. So it's still 24 hours to get back. But
so you cruise and then you fly back.
yeah, that's what he did. He cruised over and flew back.
So you could fly to like Vegas, right? Spend a couple of days in Vegas, then fly to Hawaii, spend a couple of days in Hawaii, then fly to Australia from there.
Why not? Why not? Yeah, it's like a multiple destination trip, and you get whatever you want.
How long of a flight from Hawaii to Australia?
About 9 or 10 hours. So you're breaking up your.
If you're gonna go, that's the way to break it up.
Yeah, exactly. So you can do that. I flew 13 hours to Beijing. That was a pain in the butt. Oh my Lord, that's a pain.
How would the seats out? Like those the international airlines? Are the seats bigger? Because the ones here are so small.
They're a little bigger, but not markedly much. You see, it was good that we had children with us because then we had a little more space.
Oh yeah, that's right. You can't stand when you got the person. Like if I'm sitting in the middle and I got to do this, and I got two big guys next to me.
It can be. I mean, and listen. The airlines do what they have to do to make the most money for the stockholders, just like anything else. So, I mean, are all those fees a pain in the butt? Sure, it's a pain in the butt, but that's the way it goes.
I just heard that some of them are dropping the bag fees. Am I correct on that?
They're being nicer about those things, not the bag fees, but they're the change fees.
Change fees, right?
Yeah. That could really get you. It's $150 a seat. It's like that can.
Sure.
Now, I did go actually last month. I went to Cancun.
Oh, that's nice there, right? I went there once.
It was. I went to Cancun, and I can tell you the COVID protocols were all followed and exceeded. I mean, yeah, you had to wear the mask on the flight for 4 hours, but a strategic bag of Chex Mix, was able to take the mask off and chew.
Right.
I was able to do that, and the resorts down there are welcoming people. They're not at full capacity. They're like 50%. And some of the things aren't open, but you have to understand that if you're at 50% capacity, maybe 50% of your stuff is going to be open. But it was still a good time, it was still good food, and I can recommend it to people. Now the problem is, of course, for us New Yorkers, is coming back, you do have to self quarantine.
Yeah.
I put that in quotation marks because they're really understaffed. So enforcement is like spotty.
Right, and don't get me started on New York State. So
trust me. Handy Andy and his nipple rings. Trust me, I get it.
Oh, I'm with you, Scott. You and I speak the same language, my friend.
I understand that. So, but so there's still a lot of the world to explore. And there's a lot of great places in like New York State for all you New Yorkers.
Oh yeah.
I just posted about a new mountain roller coaster thing they have in Lake Placid. It's the longest in the United States.
Mountain roller coaster?
Yeah. It's at Mount von Hovenberg where they had the luge and bobsledding for the Olympics. And you can go on weekends. They have time set up, and you get your tickets in advance. You can go down this roller coaster thing. You have little breaks on the side. You can just go through the mountain, outside, get the nice air on you. It's really cool.
That is really fun.
Yeah, it is. And Lake Placid's great because then you can see all those great Olympic sites. You can go to you can go up to Whiteface Mountain and fall down and down the hill.
Yeah.
So and it's only about 4 hours or so from from me and 5 hours from New York City.
Sure.
So
and once you get past the Bronx, there's no traffic up there.
No, once you you just go up the thruway and boom, and there's lots of great places to go to in New York. You got the Finger Lakes. You can drink wine. You can go out you can still take the Maid of the Mist because that's on the U.S. side, so you can still do that if you want to go out to the falls. So I got to tell you
though, since I've been at the resorts and stuff like that, I think it's been unbelievably safe, to be honest.
It's funny you say that because when I was in Cancun, I felt safer than when I go to my Costco a mile from my house.
Yeah, I mean they are just you. It's like having an Italian grandmother, and you get up at 2 a.m, you go to the bathroom, you come back, and your bed is made. That's how they're really working hard for your business. And again, these places aren't working at full capacity either. So and they're actually pretty fully staffed. So you're getting a little extra attention than maybe you would otherwise. Yeah.
So,
it's pretty great.
So before we go, I just want to reiterate, and you can listen to this too. Again, 3 nights or more. If you book with Go Away Austin Travel, go to the Rocking Horse Ranch. I will set up for you $100 in resort credit. So if you want that glass of wine, or you want that beer, or that mixed drink, or you want to buy a hoodie at the or pajamas they have at the gift shop, or you want to do the spa when they're open, you can go ahead and have some bling for that, because it's my way of saying thanks to people for watching the podcast, and my way for saying thanks to people for booking the Rocking Horse Ranch with me. So
Yeah, and
so
people, if you have family, you got kids, even if you just want to get away and you like horseback riding, I know some adults that do it. They still go. So
I went horseback riding every day. My kids went twice. Just the cost of that alone is $50 to get on a horse for a 40-minute ride.
right,
If you have a family of 4, that's $200 to do that once a day.
sure, sure,
And it just adds up. What can I tell you? It's about value, because price is what you pay, but value is what you receive. So I mean, that's the bottom
right,
line.
absolutely,
So
absolutely.
listen,
Scott,
Scott,
thanks for
thank you
having
so
me on,
much
Scott.
for being here. I
Thank you.
appreciate it. We'll,
You're,
we'll,
you
we'll
know what? You're always a gentleman. You're always great to talk to. You're just a good man, and I appreciate the friendship.
And listen, make sure you plug this on all of your social media stuff. It'll be on my YouTube channel in a
I
few
will.
minutes.
Just get me the link. I'll plug it up on my Facebook.
We'll do that when you can put it wherever you are, and I'll put it wherever I am. And like I say, hopefully people can enjoy humor and all that in all of these times, because no doubt we need it more than ever.
Yep, absolutely. A day without laughter is a wasted day.
All right. Listen, take care, buddy. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Scott. Be well.
Bye. There you have it. Scott Baker, funny guy. He's been around the block, and if you want to go ahead and find him, please go ahead and find him. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next week. And next week it'll be Dave Myhofer. He's from Celebrity Cruises. We're going to talk about cruising and what's going to be on the potential for 2021 and even 2022. Thank you. Have a great day.